JGR solidifies their Xfinity Series lineup, and is Joey Logano the weakest Championship 4 contender of all time? How's it going, y'all? My name is Eric. Welcome to Out of the Groove. Full show ahead, power rankings coming up in the second half. But first, this episode is sponsored by NASCAR Manager. I let y'all know about the last update with Kyle Busch, Austin Dillon. Well, now they've added even more teams and drivers into NASCAR Manager, part of their largest update yet. Team Penske, Spire Motorsports, and the Wood Brothers are now unlockable. Download NASCAR Manager for free. Begin building up your dream team. Maybe you'll be able to add some real-world stars to your roster. Link down in the description below. Breaking news this afternoon, Joe Gibbs Racing has announced that William Sawalich will drive the number 18 Xfinity Series Supra full-time in 2025. He will join a lineup that already includes Taylor Gray and Brandon Jones. Starkey Sound Gear will be the primary sponsor for Sawalich. Williams' father is the president and CEO of this company. So, if you're still wondering why Ryan Truex can't get a full-time ride, he can't match their price. It's as simple as that. That's not to say these guys don't have talent. William Sawalich, I believe, has won 18 ARCA races across the main ARCA Menards, East, West. 18 races in something like 39 starts. That's an incredible ratio. I know he's in some of the best equipment. I know the fields aren't especially competitive. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to dominate like that. That tells me William Sawalich has at least some ability, and he's so young, he's only going to get better from here. William Sawalich, Taylor Gray, Brandon Jones. No word on Chandler Smith's future just yet. Corey Heim, who I believe to be Toyota's top prospect, has recently been linked to Legacy Motor Club. There have been some rumors out there. I'm not sure if those rumors that have floated across the internet in recent days are even remotely valid, but something to watch. I do think Corey Heim and Chandler Smith, for that matter, are the two most talented drivers currently in the Toyota NASCAR pipeline, so I hope they land somewhere, whether that be with Toyota or with a different manufacturer. William Sawalich joining Joe Gibbs Racing's Xfinity Series program in 2025. That's the big news today. Now, I want to talk about Joey Logano. This is something I didn't want to dwell on in last night's post-race video, but we have more time today. Let's have this discussion. Many fans online, at least that's what I see, are furious, not with Joey Logano specifically, but with the format that allowed someone like Joey Logano to race for a championship. Fans are calling him Mickey Mouse, saying this is a fluke run. Fans are calling him the worst championship contender in NASCAR history. And I get where fans are coming from. If we look at Joey Logano's season-long stats and compare them to other drivers in the round of 8, oh my goodness, he's got the fewest top 5s, the fewest top 10s, the worst average finish, towards the bottom in laps led, towards the bottom in stage wins. Yeah, Joey Logano has not put together a consistently good 2024 campaign. That's just fact. Shoot, if we compare those same numbers to the entire 16-driver playoff field we started with, it looks even worse for Joey. 11th in top 5s, 12th in top 10s, the 12th best average finish, that's it? How did this format allow the 12th best average finish to be the first guy locked into Phoenix with a chance to win the championship? How did this happen? That's what fans are arguing about online this week. I totally get it. I know this doesn't sit right with everyone. It is a little funny that the 12th best average finish is now the championship favorite. For decades, NASCAR crowned a champion based on who accumulated the most points throughout the entire 30-plus race season. No seedings, no rounds, less emphasis on winning the big races, more emphasis on being steady and consistent. That's how things operated for years and years and years, so I don't blame fans for still looking at the championship that way. Unfortunately for those fans, that's not the way NASCAR has crowned a champion for now more than 20 years. Think about it. The playoffs in some form or fashion have existed now for 21 years, more than 2 decades. NASCAR has had some form of rounds and championship force for 11 years now. Under the old format, Joey Logano would have no business sniffing the NASCAR Cup Series championship, but this isn't the old format anymore. And that's the point I'm trying to make. It hasn't been the old format for a generation. These teams, these drivers have all grown up in this system. They know the rules. They now have years of historical data to refer to study up on. And no team has figured out how to overachieve in the playoffs quite like Joey Logano and Team Penske. Pull up those numbers again. 17.5 average finish, not super impressive. But one stat I left off, wins. Not saying he dominated all of these races, but he does have 3 wins. That ties him for the second most wins in Cup this year. He also won the All-Star race, so you could make an argument he's second in wins this season only to Kyle Larson. And he won at the right time. Atlanta, the playoff opener, Joey Logano, straight to victory lane. Las Vegas, the round of 8 opener, I would argue the second most important playoff race outside of Phoenix, Joey Logano finds a way. Paul Wolfe finds a way. I've compared the NASCAR playoffs to college basketball's March Madness now for years. In college basketball, the best teams during the regular season get a better seeding, and that may help you through the first couple of rounds. But every year, there's a 4, a 5, a 6, 7, maybe a 9 or 10 seed that makes it into the Final Four. You never see all 1 seeds in the Final Four. You don't even see like 1, 1, 2, 2s. There's always an underdog. Someone who sneaks in who doesn't have the same body of work over the course of the entire season. They got hot, they found a way at the right time. And Americans love March Madness. It's the only month of college basketball we watch in this country. Exciting, high pressure, high stakes, upsets. That's what NASCAR, I believe, was trying to tap into when they implemented the current NASCAR playoffs. The full season matters. That's why, despite being a lap down most of Sunday's race, Kyle Larson is still 35 points above the cut line. But there's an added emphasis on winning late in the year, winning the big races, the big games. Everyone knew that coming into this year. Joey Logano, Paul Wolfe made the right decisions. They executed on the track. They did what 2-time champions do. So again, I know this doesn't sit right with everyone, and I think there is a legitimate argument that Joey Logano is the weakest Championship 4 contender since playoff points were implemented in 2017. I think that's fair. Before Logano this year, I would have probably said Ryan Blaney last year was the weakest Championship 4 driver. Some people are going to say Ross Chastain. No, in 2022, Ross Chastain had more top 5 finishes that year than anyone. He wasn't, he was an underdog, but he wasn't like a fluke. He didn't just slip in there unnoticed. He was good. Ryan Blaney last season had only 8 top 5s all year. Had an average finish of like 14.1. Joey Logano this year, shoot, let's compare him side by side. Oh my gosh, he has far fewer top 10s. He has a 3-position worse average finish. Overall, in the playoff point era beginning in 2017, I think the Championship 4 usually gets it right. Sure, a Kevin Harvick in 2020 will miss. That's probably one of the few notable exceptions, but by and large, who makes it to the Championship 4 are usually some of the best drivers and teams that we saw all season long, or they got red hot late in the play, like Joey Logano 2018, had the best average finish during the 10-race playoffs that year. Wasn't part of the big 3, but he was still really good and got to Homestead that year, so I wouldn't argue that. The Championship 4 usually gets it right. Joey Logano this year, I think objectively speaking, is the weakest Championship 4 contender we've seen in the playoff point era. That part is true, but what's also true is that this format isn't new, and Team Penske has clearly cracked the code better than anyone else. When Joey Logano goes into the Hall of Fame, they'll put on his plaque number of championships, number of race wins. Hopefully they put number of Championship 4 appearances. I think they should. Do you know what won't be on his plaque? Average finish. You don't have to like the NASCAR playoffs. They're flawed, no doubt. Maybe race wins are a better way to rank all-time great drivers, sure. But it's important to understand the context of what the NASCAR playoffs are, or what they're trying to be. It's March Madness on wheels. And Joey Logano is that scrappy blue blood program that's always a difficult out, no matter where they're ranked that season. Everyone has a strong opinion on the playoff format, on Joey Logano's legitimacy. I'm not trying to tell you what's right or wrong. You don't have to agree with me. I just hope you see my way of thinking about it. Hopefully that added some context and maybe gave you a different way of thinking about the NASCAR playoffs. Anyway, before we get to power rankings next week, Tuesday, October 29th, Groovy Hollow, my annual Halloween-themed charity iRacing event. I'll be racing this year. I'll be driving this car, which you can still order in 1/64th scale die-cast form. These cars are in stock, ready to ship right here, right now. Click the link down in the description below to check it out. We have a ton of different options available, so I hope you will give it a look. Now it's that glorious time of the week where I rank the 10 fastest overall drivers and teams in the NASCAR Cup Series right now. Let's do it. At number 10, which non-playoff driver am I going to highlight this week? Cover your ears, Chase Elliott, Tyler Reddick, and Ryan Blaney fans. I've got Martin Truex Jr. I know he slipped up and caused the big wreck. Yeah, that sucked. That was bad. But I can't ignore the raw speed. Martin Truex Jr. earned 17 stage points, finished second and third in the 2 stages. That's huge. Ran 6th at the finish. He's also very good at Homestead, where we're headed this week. Martin Truex Jr. at 10. At number 9, I've got his teammate Denny Hamlin. Hamlin was maybe 8th of the 8 playoff drivers in terms of speed this past weekend. And I'm dropping him a spot further because of the incompetence on pit road. The number 11 pit crew has faltered now in multiple playoff races. You can't do that in the round of 8. Hamlin didn't earn any stage points. You can't do that in the round of 8. I still believe Hamlin can win one of these next 2 races, but right now, my confidence is at a season low. Denny Hamlin at 9. At number 8, it was a rough weekend all around for Ryan Blaney. From the flat tire and crash in practice, backup car, then wasn't even able to crack the top 10 before getting caught up in a big crash. Once again, you really can't blame Blaney for the crash, but it was just a troubling weekend overall. Hopefully he's okay, because Ryan Blaney needs to be at 100% if he's going to potentially win one of these next 2 races. Ryan Blaney at 8. At number 7, I have Chase Elliott. Bad qualifying run, but really good race pace early. Drove from 18th up to like 5th in the opening run. He looked really good, but then they got pinned back in traffic because they took 4 tires. Then at the beginning of stage 2, obviously were caught up in the Truex crash. He didn't earn any stage points and is now in must-win territory the next 2 weeks. Chase Elliott at 7. His teammate Alex Bowman holds firm in 6th. Earned some stage points, finished top 5, was in the mix pretty much the entire race. After the depressing week Alex Bowman had, I'm impressed they didn't miss a beat at Las Vegas. He looked like he was still a playoff driver. If Alex Bowman hadn't been disqualified at the Roval, I'm pretty sure he'd be right around 4th or 5th. He'd be right on the cut line. So at the very least, I can show Alex Bowman some love in my power rankings. One of my big movers this week is Tyler Reddick. Qualified 2nd for the 2nd straight race, and he looked dangerous in stage 1, working his way to the front, winning it. 2nd stage win in 2 weeks. I'm convinced that some of that regular season speed is finally back in the 45 car. Unfortunately, he was caught up in a wreck. I still need to see the finishes before I'm ready to put Reddick back in my top 3 or 4, but for now he's at 5. I also have him up here because he is really good at Homestead Miami Speedway. That's on deck. He's a 2-time Xfinity winner there, won both his championships at this track. He's also got 3 top 5s and 4 cup starts here. That's including his years with Richard Childress Racing. So Tyler Reddick, expect him to contend this coming weekend. Joey Logano up to number 4. Speed-wise, I think Logano was a 9th or 10th place car, but execution-wise, no mistakes on pit road, no mistakes by the driver, great fuel strategy employed by the crew chief. They were first, obviously. So when I average out 9th and 1st, it comes out to around 4th. That's where I've got Joey. I don't expect a ton from this team the next 2 weeks because they'll be focusing most of their attention on their Phoenix car, but I have to reward Joey Logano and Paul Wolfe for once again proving they are top-tier playoff performers. My top 3 hasn't changed, but their exact positions have. Kyle Larson at 3. Typical Las Vegas Larson never showed up this weekend. The car was definitely fast. That's how he was able to overcome some slight nose damage, raced his way back from 2 laps down. But why was he 2 laps down in the first place? A rare unforced error on pit road. Hopefully that was just an unusual fluke, but for now, I've dropped Larson to 3 because the 2 in front of him once again shined. William Byron finishes of 2nd, 3rd, 3rd, 4th the last 4 races. That's incredible. What stood out to me this weekend was the team's ability to improve the car throughout the race. They didn't fire off great. He was running outside the top 10 at one point, but midway through this race, they made the right adjustment and suddenly Byron was a top 5 threat. He finished 2nd of the cars who pit in that final stage. Pit under green, I should say, behind Bell. So top 5 speed for sure, finishes 4th. William Byron, 2nd on my power rankings. New number 1, Christopher Bell. He didn't win the race, but he was the fastest car, clearly, all day long. Led the most laps, 155. Won a stage, finished 2nd in the other stage, nearly earned max points. And because he's not locked in to the next round, you know he'll be pushing hard the next 2 weeks. He's the defending Homestead Miami winner, so watch for him this weekend. Bell has an incredible average finish of 5.7 through the first 7 races of the playoffs. An easy choice at number 1 this week. There's my top 10. Let me know in the comments below if you agree or disagree with any of my rankings. Whew, covered a lot of ground today. Thank you so much for tuning in, folks. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new to the channel and love all things NASCAR. Really appreciate the support, y'all, and I really appreciate the support from those of you on Patreon. Thanks a ton. I will catch up with y'all again soon. Have a great rest of your day, folks. Take it easy.